What I'm doing here is just checking the area of the SI joint where the L5-S1 come together and the hip joint, and the other hand is up here at the occiput. I'm doing a little cranial technique here to access the dural tube and pull a little stretch. Probably doesn't look like there's a lot being done, but there is some movement happening under my fingers. And then it takes a little bit of a stretch. I'm going to just work on the back today, primarily doing basically muscle work. How I started out was just to hold a few areas that are from the more cranial technique, and get the body to relax a little, feel where the restrictions are along the vertebrae. You might notice a slight bruise on my arm. I poked myself with something and made a bit of a bruise on my arm. It's getting better. In case any of you are wondering what that is. Okay, this is just going up and down the vertebrae, very close into the bones. I can feel the bones as I go down, but I'm not on top of the bones. I'm alongside the bones. What I'm showing you now is basically the routine that I've been doing for the entire time. I've come up with a routine that's very thorough, and I don't deviate much from it unless the body is requiring deviation. If you work with just massage therapy, it's good to get a good routine that you just do over and over and over, that covers everything, moves from one muscle group to another with ease. And these videos are meant to be more of a demonstration video, not so much of a teaching video. Although good information can come out of it, there's so much more to understanding how to do the work. There's so much more levels to explore. And there's so many different body types that each body type and different person does express different issues going on that I can feel underneath my hands. And there have been some requests for different situations to be spoken about, which I will do the best I can to answer it on the email. I do appreciate those of you who are taking some of this work and applying it to people that you care about. And I know it can be rather confusing at times. But it isn't really all that difficult, at least at the primary level. It's not that difficult at any level, really, if you work at it. This would be considered just a basic relaxation massage. There's really not a whole lot here to address. There's not really much here to work out. There's a little tension in through here, but it's not really anything that would be needing extra work other than just ironing it out as I am with the muscle fibers along the tissues and the way that they run. So a good demonstration today of just a relaxation massage, which I know a number of you do work with that. When we get into headache relief and different things like that, that's really important to get a deeper understanding for some of that, at least to get the effectiveness to the top of what you can do. Any relief, though, is good, so don't give up on what you're doing. I'm feeling an urgency to have some real understanding about what's happening in the global situation of healthcare, which is going to be probably very controversial for some of you, but if you sit down and really reason it out objectively without getting emotionally triggered by any of this because you're fearful that you might not have a certain protection, it's very important to understand that what's happening in health today, it's not the people, the general people that are the problem. It's the system. It's a system that makes money, and it makes money on keeping people down. And I am quite sure that many of you have discovered that. You've trusted the advice of physicians who possibly mean well, but the treatments that are given are not making a difference in your life to make any big changes in the way that you feel and the quality of your lives. We do not need a government to intervene in these sorts of things because it's not a government problem, it's a personal problem. When we don't care about the foods that we're eating and we're not paying attention to the nutrition that we're putting into our body, and we're more interested in entertaining ourselves or not caring about that, then that lies on our own shoulders. We are responsible for our conditions. The foods that we eat, the processed foods that we eat, are designed to keep you sick as well. So I think as a society of people, or just at least as individuals to start with, we probably would do ourselves well if we began to ask some hard questions. And we could begin to look at ourselves as far as taking the mantle of responsibility. Because there's so much out there. There's so much out there. There's no reason for the kind of sickness that we have. The only reason that we do have the sickness that we have is because people aren't willing to take a look at what's going on. They've believed a story, they believed a system, and it's not working. With Obamacare coming in, that's not going to help things at all. I don't care what the argument is. If you go down to your reasoning capacity and take a look at the situation and understand some things at a level that we aren't accustomed to thinking about things, we would find out that we could have a much more cost-effective system. People could be choosing what they want to do. They could go to people who really care about seeing society healthy instead of seeing profit being made. I don't have anything against anybody in any capacity of healthcare services. I just think there's a lot of misunderstanding of what's out there because we don't know the history of how it got there. So I would urge all of you to begin to take a look at some things. Take a look at other reports. Read other things that are out there. Understand what they're doing in preventing us from getting healthy food. Understand about the genetically modified foods that are becoming more prevalent in the grocery stores. Understand that there's people right now on farms that are being arrested or they're having things taken away from them, crashed in by the whoever, because they're selling raw milk. This is not the way the system should be. This is not going to produce healthy bodies. We need to have our farms. We need to have our local producers. We need to get out of the factory farming completely. We need to stop letting the government control the food industry, the agriculture industry, telling us what we can and can't do, telling us what kind of medicine we can have when we're sick, telling us what we have to do. It's not right, it's not free, and it's time for all of us to come to grips with that and become empowered. Because if you stay in the medical system, you're not going to fare very well. It's not designed for that. And I think that's what's biggest on my heart today. Good nutrition, a good lifestyle, stopping eating processed foods and chemical foods, and moving away from chemical medications and understanding the disease processes that we have and how to correct them. That's a much more positive approach. So I'm going to challenge each one of you who are watching the video to begin to take a look at that in your own lives and see if real health and real vibrancy is important to you. Because all of this body work that I'm sharing with you has some amazing effects and it can keep us healthy. But if we're going to continue to live lifestyles that, or follow directions of things that are harming us, we're not going to get along very well. Our minds aren't going to work well. Our bodies aren't going to work well. So, I didn't explain a whole lot about what I was doing on the back. I know that you've watched many videos of that. It's a basic relaxation routine. I covered both sides, the entire back, the muscles of it all, and I was able to share some of the importance of rethinking and relooking at what's happening in our country around the arena of healthcare. Thank you so much. This is Athena Jezik.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. And I think there's a little bell up there that you can hit that you'll get a notification every time we post. So if you want to, you can hit that too. But thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it.